I've just had a phone call from a friend. He's in a very, very agitated state. Why? Well, he says he's got this moth fluttering around his house and he can't get rid of it. So he was wondering if I could pop along and help him out. Only trouble is, this moth is a very, very big moth. So I was just wondering whether it would be wise to go around or not. Second thoughts are better not. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now in this video I'd like to review a movie I watched on DVD last night, and that movie is called The Mothman Prophecies. Now this was made in 2002 and it stars Richard Gere, Laura Linney and Alan Bates. Now, if you're not familiar with this movie, I'll just read you the blurb at the back and I'll just talk a little bit more about the movie as a whole and give you my thoughts on it. Yeah, okay. So, heart-stoppingly scary. Now, based on true events, The Mothman Prophecies is a compelling, heart-pounding, bone-chilling thriller that will jolt you off your seat. Driven to investigate the mysterious circumstances surrounding his wife's death, John Klein, played by Richard Gere, uncovers chilling secrets behind the Mothman. A timeless, nameless horror whose appearance spells doom for all those who see it. Now Klein discovers a connection between the supernatural being and Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a small town paralysed by fear, where he meets Connie, played by Laura Linney, who helps shed light on the crisis. If you see it, are you safe? If you don't, are you next? Right, okay, so so on to my thoughts on the Mothman Prophecy as a whole. I thought it was a bit of a slow burner, to be honest. I expected so much from this movie, and I'm a great fan of Laura Linney. You know, she's one of my top actresses in that, and of course she starred alongside Richard Gere, as she did with Primal Fear in Primal Fear, where they played lawyers. They have a good on-screen chemistry, but unfortunately, I think both actors were wasted in this movie. It wasn't a really atrocious movie, but it wasn't a good movie either. Its main fault was the dull. It was dull. The pacing was very slow, very poor, and it wasn't very exciting. But it had potential there to be a real good on the edge of your seat thriller. And about near just over halfway through the movie, I thought I was starting to watch it, a kind of a disaster movie, yeah. But I don't want to go on too much about the end, and I'll leave it there in case you haven't seen it, yeah. So basically, it's based on a true story that happened in this area of America, the town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in the mid-60s. It involved this creature called a Mothman, and what it was doing, it was appearing to people. Like say courting couples on country roads, people driving along late at night. It was swooping down. It was appearing. It had the head of a man, but it had the wings of a moth, and it was appearing to these people. And so many people in this town claims to have experienced this Mothman, creature, and they reckon like every time it appeared, it was like a portent, a sign of something very bad to come, as is the case in this movie. For instance, Richard Gere's character, the reporter, he gets these messages and that he gets these strange phone calls saying such and such a thing's going to happen, this happen, and sure enough, it happens. Because he's in the bar and that, and he's sort of like, he sees on the news like there's been sort of like a plane crash or other disaster and that, and his anxiety starts building and building. And you can actually get this book on Amazon, yeah. So it's a very, very interesting story, and it had good, it's a missed opportunity, guys. There was potential here to make this into a really good movie on one of the most creepiest true life cases ever recorded in the annals of American history. Yeah. It's a kind of an American sci-fi movie, because it's got like as well as the Mothman, this creature, it's got this alien aspect to it, because people hear these strange voices when they're like in the woods at night, and one fella claims to have seen like this alien, like blurred, but it was like an extraterrestrial. So you've got that element going on as well, and you've got all these weird phone calls and that, you know, yeah. And then Richard Gere, at the start of the film, Richard Gere's driving along with his wife in this country road, and all of a sudden this Mothman appears out of nowhere and it hits the car crashes, and Richard Gere's wife ends up in hospital, like in a coma, but sadly she dies in that, you know, yeah. So when he goes to the town, oh yeah, well, after she's died, one of the hospital orderlies says to Richard Gere, she must have known, you know, she was going to die, because Richard Gere looks at him questioningly, and the orderly says, well, she drew these, and he gives Richard Gere this book, and there's like angels and that, but alongside the angels, she's drew pictures of this Mothman. So she's drew as if she sort of like knew what it was, and she sort of like, you know, drew it like before she passed away and that, yeah. So you've got that aspect, that eerie aspect. And then when Richard Gere goes to the town to investigate more, his car breaks down at night in the middle of the country road, and he goes to this nearby house and he knocks on the door, and the fella looks at him like, oh, what do you want? And he said, you've been here, you were here last night. And Richard Gere said, he looks at him, his jaw drops open, you were here last night and you were here again the previous night, a creepy guy, and he's got this sort of like, oh yeah, he's got this sort of like menacing aspect to him and that, you know, yeah. And so you've got that aspect, that's something strange there. And then you've got all these phone calls like that's getting made all the time, or you know, all over the town and that, you know. And Richard Gere, what he does, he records one of the phone calls, and he takes it to a phone call, you know, this person in this laboratory, he can analyze, or the police department or whatever, I can't exactly remember which building it was, but anyway, he takes to this voice analysis, and he puts it on the thing that monitors sound, and he says to Richard Gere, do you know this is abnormal, it's an abnormally high frequency, no human voice can reach this level. So that adds another eerie aspect to it and that, yeah. And then, as I say, like, but it does take a sort of like surreal turn as well, because Richard Gere's character, the reporter, he has these visions and that, you know. One minute he's sort of like in his room, and the next minute he's sort of like in the woods and that, and he in one scene he bangs his head against the glass, and the next minute you see him all right. So I thought that was a bit odd and that, you know, yeah. And then you've got Linney, the blonde girl, yeah, she plays the police chief and that, you know, yeah, and she's sort of like, she adopts a kind of a stoic attitude, you know, a strong attitude to this Mothman thing, it's sort of like gripping the town. She's sort of like, oh, you know, she's a little bit dismissive, but at the same time she's keeping her options open and that, you know, when she's about the strange things and that. So she works alongside Richard Gere, and you've got like a little bit of a love interest as well, because he starts to fall for her and that, you know, yeah. And so they're the two main protagonists. Then you've got Alan Bates. Now he plays a sort of like, he's an expert on the paranormal, and when Richard Gere starts experiencing these strange things, he goes to consult. He rings up Alan Bates. He does research on it, sees he's an author. He rings up, but Alan Bates is a bit dismissive. He doesn't want to discuss the case yet. Yeah, I don't want to go on too much more about it. I'm just giving you a kind of a general idea of what to expect, you know, if you rent or buy this movie. But yeah, getting back to Alan Bates' character, he's this expert on the paranormal, and he doesn't want to be bothered at first. But then Richard Gere goes to see him personally. You know, he meets him outside this building. So Alan Bates succumbs, and he said, "Oh, come on, we'll talk." So then Alan Bates says about the Mothman. He says to Richard Gere, these creatures have been seen for centuries all over the world, you know, in very remote places and that. They're like an urban legend and that, yeah. And they're like a harbinger of doom. Every time you see the Mothman, this creature, something bad happens, as I said before, yeah. But I'll leave it there for now, guys. I don't want to go on too much more about it in case you want to see it for yourself, yeah. Yeah, so my thoughts on it as a whole, yeah, I mean, I was expecting much more from this movie, The Mothman Prophecies. I like both Richard Gere and I like Linney, but I'm afraid they were both wasted. Another thing I didn't like in it, guys, the sound was very bad. There was a lot of mumbling, you know, and you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I don't like actors who mumble the lines and that, you know. I like this, you know, and they talk too quick. I like to hear what they're saying, you know. I like them to be coherent. You know, I don't like mumbling, you know, mumbling that, yeah. But on the whole, this movie was like a mishmash of paranormal, urban legends, sci-fi, you know, and then you've even got a little bit of a disaster movie element thrown in. But yeah, I don't want to touch on that. I'll let you see it for yourself, yeah. But I'll just show you. There's got a couple of special features. Oh, actually, they've got a very good documentary on here, all about the Mothman story, and it's very, very good. It's even better than the movie. Yeah, yeah. So if you get this edition with the documentary on, because I know there's some editions circulating that's got no documentary on. So if you're going to get the Mothman Prophecies, make sure you get this one with the you know, with the documentary on and that. Yeah, the special features and that. This is the best one. Yeah, it's got, I say, it's got the documentary, it's got behind the scenes, In Search of the Mothman, and then the cast and crew interviews, and it's got a couple of trailers as well. Yeah, so as I say, if you're going to get this edition, get this one. There's Laura Linney there and Richard Gere. Yeah, so as I say, there's a missed opportunity here, guys, but the story I found the actual case I found compelling, fascinating, yeah. So I said the documentary is very, very enjoyable, yeah. So if you're into your paranormal documentaries, you truly like paranormal, I think you'll enjoy the documentary on this, guys, yeah, the Mothman Prophecies, yeah. So on a scale now of 1 to 10, I would give the Mothman Prophecies, I'd give it, say, maybe 5 out of 10, yeah. It lost points for the slow story, you know, the incoherent dialogue, but it gained points for the general premise of the story. It was very, very creepy story. All these people seeing this Mothman thing and that, you know, and getting these strange phone calls and that. Yeah, very, very weird and that. Yeah, I like to get the novel. The fella who stayed in the town, he actually wrote a novel, a factual account of everything what went on. If you go online and type in the Mothman Prophecies, you'll see all newspaper cuttings of what happened and that. Oh yeah, it only lasted for about, I think it was about nearly a year. Then it suddenly stopped all of a sudden. But having said that, the apparition, the Mothman, has since it's been seen all over the world. You know, like the Chupacabra legend, you know, the Yeti, things like that. It's a kind of an urban legend, but there's a lot of truth in this, guys, because a lot of people claim to have witnessed it. And if you watch the documentary, you'll see all the people giving their personal accounts of what happened and that, yeah. And they said about what they experienced and that, you know. And one person, it affected them that badly. They still have nightmares to this day. What happened, you know, with the Mothman, yeah. Oh yeah, very good documentary, guys, yeah. I'm not saying don't buy the movie. I'm just giving my opinion. I thought it was a bit slow. You know, it could have been a bit more gripping. It could have been a bit more action-packed. You know, you didn't really see much of the Mothman, yeah. But I don't want to reveal too much there. I'll let you see it for yourself, yeah. So there you go. That's my review of the Mothman Prophecies from 2002, starring you know, Richard Gere and Laura Linney, yeah. Have you seen the Mothman Prophecies? If you have, leave a comments down below. I'd be very interested to hear, you know, what you thought of it. Yeah. But yes, I'm not saying don't go and buy it. Yeah, you know, by all means. I mean, you might like it if you like a slow burner. You know, you like a bit of true paranormal. I think you might enjoy the Mothman Prophecies. Yeah, but I thought it was a missed opportunity, guys. Yeah, you know, they could have made the story a bit more exciting than that. Yeah, and yeah, so there you go. That's my review of the Mothman Prophecies. And of course, with me being a paranormal author, as you know, I've written books about cases like this. I was particularly attracted to it when I learned about it and that, yeah. If you like the video, please feel free to share, subscribe, comments, and all going well. Oh yeah, I should mention, if you like a good like a kind of a ghost story as well, I think you'll enjoy the part where Richard Gere, his dead wife, keeps appearing in different parts of the town. She's like haunting him and that, you know, yeah. And Laura Linney, she claims to have seen. She describes this woman, and Richard Gere clicks in his mind, oh, that description matches me wife, and he gets all freaked out and that, yeah. So it's got a good ghostly element to it, albeit a very, very minimal one. It's got a good ghostly element to it as well, with his dead wife, you know, apparently coming back from the dead. But of course, I think you can attribute that to whatever's going on in town with these alien creatures and the Mothman. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll leave it there now. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Thanks.